Good afternoon. I'm Karen Cox, President of the American Academy of Nursing, and I'm delighted to see all of you here and to welcome you to the 2018 Transforming Health Driving Policy Conference. It's my pleasure to officially open 3 days of outstanding learning and sharing insights around the strategies and initiatives that are transforming health, influencing policy, and improving lives. I am certain that you will leave with the information and confidence necessary to address health policy issues important to you and the Academy. We will also celebrate the nursing profession, honor truly outstanding nurse leaders, catch up with dear friends, make new contacts, and share ideas with colleagues. And of course, Saturday evening, we will induct a highly impressive cohort of 195 new fellows. This year is a milestone for our conference, with nearly 1,200 leaders in health and healthcare attending. The Academy is very thankful for the generous support of our conference sponsors. Please join me in thanking all of our sponsors for helping to make this conference possible. Earlier today, many of you participated in the Leadership Workshop and Luncheon. These are signature events for the Academy's Institute for Nursing Leadership, an initiative to help position nurses on boards and commissions in order to drive change and policy and make policy impact. Moderated by Karen Drinkard, the workshop focused on developing leadership, competencies to be seated on organizational boards, and how to influence policy once there. The workshop also reached beyond boards and commissions and spoke to the nuts and bolts of running for public office. The workshop's distinguished panel included Jenny Chin Hansen of Hirsch & Associates Philanthropic Advisors, Josh Sharfstein of Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, and Bashara Shukair, Senior Vice President and Chief Community Health Officer of Kaiser Permanente. My biggest takeaway, and you'll hear a lot about this regarding the future work of the Academy, it's not just enough to be passionate about a topic or a cause. It's about making impact. I want to thank Dean Pamela Jeffries and the George Washington School of Nursing for once again generously sponsoring the Leadership Workshop. I'm also very proud that this year's Leadership Luncheon was generously supported by my new employer, Chamberlain University. Moderated by Tony Villarreal, Dean of the University of Pennsylvania School of Nursing, the luncheon featured Jackie Campbell, the Anna D. Wolf Chair and Professor of Johns Hopkins University School of Nursing and a 2018 Academy Living Legend. Robin Newhouse, Dean and Professor of Indiana University School of Nursing, and Joe Reardon, President and CEO of the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce. I also would like to take a moment to publicly thank the co-chairs of the Institute for Nursing's Leadership National Advisory Council, Sheila Burke and Karen Drinkard, for their excellent work in leading the Institute this past year. In addition, some of you participated in a new event this morning, the Edgerunner Catalyst for Change Innovation Summit, made possible by support from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. As most of you know, Academy Edgerunners are nurses who have designed innovative models of care or interventions. The summit provided Edgerunners and emerging Edgerunners with a forum to focus on community health and skills development, with a keynote presentation by Joe Reardon, who pulled double duty, joining the panel on community benefit at the luncheon this afternoon, immediately after. I would now like to acknowledge our annual Conference Planning Advisory Committee, whose combined expertise and thoughtfulness helped develop the exciting plenary sessions for this year's conference. After I've called all of their names and they stand, please join me in applauding their stellar work. First, co-chairs Kay Bender and Ken White. Committee members Kenya Beard, Teresa Holler, Jerry Milstead, Thad Wilson, and then Elizabeth Cohn and Peggy Wilmoth, who led this year's abstract committee review, along with the Academy of Nurses lead nurse planner, Lola Fair. This year's plenary sessions continue our annual focus on health policy issues where nurses' knowledge and insights are critical to drive policy, promote health, and improving health care. And we continue to do this work through the lens of social justice. There will be plenary sessions on all 3 days. Tomorrow afternoon will be policy dialogues and an impressive e-posters that you may view throughout the conference upstairs in the Georgetown room. Your participation is highly appreciated during the plenary sessions. I encourage you to use the Academy Policy Conference app. How many have the app loaded? Good, okay. So to submit questions, but also we will take index cards that are on each of the tables and simply write your question and raise your hand, and one of our wonderful Jonas policy scholars will bring your card to the front. We may not be able to get to every question, but the moderators will try their best. You will also notice donation envelopes on each table, which I hope you will consider using to make a donation to the Academy's Development Fund in order to help elevate and support a variety of the Academy initiatives, including Raise the Voice, Edgerunners, strategic partnerships, and expert panel work. Each dollar raised directly supports the Academy's mission of transforming health policy and practice through nursing knowledge. The Academy staff will be more than happy to accept your envelope at registration. It is now my pleasure to introduce our new CEO as of December 3rd, Suzanne Miyamoto. I see some of you know Suzanne. I believe Dr. Miyamoto is an excellent choice to lead our Academy. An experienced Nursing Association executive, she will bring an energetic, fresh perspective towards strengthening our existing initiatives and seeking out new opportunities. In addition to her strong advocacy background and policy expertise, she has well-developed skills in building partnerships, strategic planning, and identifying new funding opportunities. She will be here throughout much of the conference, but remember, she doesn't start her official job until December, so be kind. On Saturday at the business meeting, as is our tradition, we will honor those fellows who have passed away during last year. In the conference lounge, we invite you to write remembrances of any of these fellows, and I will read some of them for each fellow on Saturday. Also, please review the list, and if someone has been left off, please let us know prior to the meeting. Now, please join me in welcoming to the stage Kay Bender, Chair of the Conference Planning Advisory Committee, to introduce you to what you should expect over the next few days and to introduce our opening keynote session. Thank you.
Hello, are you ready for an outstanding conference? Good, good. I want to welcome you on behalf of the Conference Planning Committee, and I wanted to let you know that this year's conference has been planned solely based on the information you provided in your evaluations last year. So, hint, if you don't like the conference, please give us advice for next year. We are so excited about this conference and the promise that it holds for getting us energized and focused on truly transforming and driving health policy. We heard you when you said you wanted to have dialogue about the science behind health policy. We heard you so clearly that our plenary speakers and panelists will all discuss science and evidence-informed policy, both the successes and the lessons learned from some of the failures. Our opening speaker, Dr. Michael McGinnis, will be introduced in a bit. but he is from the National Academy of Medicine at the National Academy of Sciences. And many of you know that the National Academy of Sciences was established by Congress, President Abraham Lincoln's term of office as president in 1863, to be charged with providing independent, objective advice to the nation on matters related to science and technology. So we thought having a stellar individual from the National Academy of Medicine for our keynote speaker to kick the conference off just made absolute sense. What we didn't know is that at the INL luncheon that we just finished, that there would be discussion about the ways that Academy Fellows might better work with the National Academy of Medicine. So Dr. McGinnis, we had some preliminary conversation about NAM and how we might work together. We also heard you as fellows when you said you wanted to explore the complexities of health policy beyond advocacy on Capitol Hill, as important as that is. So our first panel will explore leadership strategies for developing and sustaining health policy and regulations when evidence isn't valued, when it isn't available, or when it is confusing. Following through with that thread, our third panel will address opportunities, challenges, and strategies that address health policy communications as identified in current evidence from both scientific and experiential perspectives. You will see that we will discuss policy influence at many levels with varied and diverse audiences and deploying various modes of influence. We also heard you when you said you wanted us to continue the momentum from last year on social justice. So in our second plenary, Dr. Benjamin Reese will talk with us about challenges and ways to identify implicit bias in our healthcare interactions that have implications for policy work. And then we heard you when you said you wanted to leave with some call to action. And who better than to give us that call to action in our closing plenary than Dr. Alicia Georges, who is a fellow and the current president of the AARP. You're in store for a real treat, I think, with this conference. We look forward to dialogue with you, between you and the speakers. And at this time, I'd like to call Dr. Jerry Milstead to the podium to introduce Dr. McGinnis. Thank you.